Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is the 26th of September. US market here with the S&P 500 opened lower just above 4,300 but closed above the key support at 43.28, but the Friday we actually closed below. We are in a downtrend. We could see a little bit of rebound here the next couple of days, possibly, but we are in a downtrend, so it probably won't last long. And we can also see here, pre-market at least, market is down 0.5%. Or indicated 0.5% down. Same picture on Nasdaq. 3 days in a row closed above the 14,687 here. Friday just with a few cents, so just basically bang on it. So we are also here in a downtrend, but it's still clinging on to this support level. But we also indicated 0.5% down there. In Asia this morning, Seng did cancel its bullish engulfing pattern here after bouncing from the 573, sorry, and it is now in a downtrend, resumed downtrend. It is about to break below the lower rising trend line here on the RSI, and there is really no support until around 17,000. There's a bit of support there, but I believe we will break below that. Also, if we close the week lower, we have the bearish RSI showing us that we are likely to move lower there. DAX yesterday broke below and closed below 15,482 support, key support there. It is now on course to the 15,000. There is a little bit of support around 14,933. Negative RSI looks fairly heavy. Of course, there will be some corrections on the way, but we are in a downtrend also here, as you can see on the medium-term trend, currently below the key support there on the weekly. There's still positive sentiment on the RSI, but it's probably just a matter of time before that is reversed to negative. AX Amsterdam got hammered a little bit yesterday, opening lower today, just around the 720. There's support at between 760 and 710. If we just expand a little bit, you can see where it comes from. It comes from this consolidation or reversal area over here. So this is where we are trading now back to March 2023. We are in a downtrend also there on a medium term and a short term. Belgian markets got beaten yesterday too. When I was online same time yesterday, it was trading just above the key support at 36, 32 here. But since then, throughout the session, it got beaten down, and now we are testing the 35.51 support, coming back from this strong upwards move here. We are in a bearish sentiment and a bearish trend, and there is room down below 3,500. And as you can see here on the overall picture here, medium term, we are in a bearish trend, and with lower lows and lower highs. It just resumed. It never really resumed to an uptrend. So we can adjust this a little bit there just for guidance at least. So looks pretty bad for the Belgian market. CAC 40 did hold on, but it actually broke yesterday below the lower rising trend line here. Also, you can see it here on the weekly. And this morning we are below the 7,082 support line, with room down to around 6,900, 6,800, where there's some support area here. Looks fairly heavy, and yeah, we are in a confirmed downtrend if we close below the 7,082 today. Euro dollar, after a couple of tries, the previous day, ending last week, it actually this Monday, yesterday, it smashed through the 106.35 support. testing the lower falling trend line. It's not that strong, so it's merely just a guideline, really. There's now no strong support until around 105, as you can see here. Also on the weekly, we are below the 55 weekly moving average, and the weekly RSI is currently testing currently below the 40 threshold, which is quite bearish if we end the week around here or lower. You can also see that the daily RSI is negative, and there's no divergence indicating lower levels. Of course, you should expect some corrections, but at the moment there is it's no strong support until around 105. Not saying that it will go straight through to 105. There might be some bumps on the way, but it looks quite heavy. Euro sterling still struggling to get above the 87, but I think it will happen here within a day or two, and then we're looking at 87.35, possibly higher. Cable sterling dollar testing the key support at, let me remove this one so it's easy to see, 121.75 support. It's not the strong support, but as you can see here, the RSI is at 20. That is extremely low. So we should expect a bit of a correction, possibly back up to 123 before it resumes downtrend. As you can see here, also on the weekly, it has broken barriers. RSI on weekly is below 40 currently. Let's see where it ends the week, but we are in a downtrend on cable. Dollar yen moving higher, just reached the 161.8 projection at 149.18. All basically bang on there. It is in an uptrend, but it is stretched. As you can see, there's also divergence, but it has broken above the falling trend line, so it's a little bit up in the air. Will it move higher? And it seems like it could move higher. I mean, there's no, there really are no resistance until around 151, 152 previous peak there from last year. Euro yen still sideways in this range here between 156 and a change and 160. So really not much to say there. It needs to break out. Also yen 95.85. It seems like a really strong resistance. It really needs to break out. I mean, the RSI tells us, because it's in a positive sentiment, it does tell us that it should break higher, but I need confirmation. I need a close above. Sterling yen, bearish, 118.20 support, and we'll just have a quick look at the Scandis. EURSEK, the Swedish krona here. Let me remove this one, it's easy to see. So it actually broke barriers after being beaten a couple of times. There is some support here at the 100 moving average, but below 55. I think that might have been the top we have seen in EURSEK, and we could move lower. What is going to be interesting here, if we look at the weekly chart, will it break below the lower rising trend line? And I believe it will, but it needs confirmation. Let's just adjust it a little bit. Again, only horizontal trend lines, they are the strongest one. The other ones are merely just guidelines, but of course they are important to look at. If we move below the 100 moving average, well, then we are looking at 1150, 1140 level. EURNOK not really moving much. Just trending sideways at the moment. I would add some horizontal lines here. Let's just see very quickly. Somewhere between this level, 1160, and around the 1130-40 level, at least short term. Finally, when we're talking about FX, we have the dollar index. Just peaking above the 105.80 resistance at the moment, so that could be short-term stretched. There's still divergence on the RSI, but it's a little bit up in the air. Will it be rejected and will we then get a correction? I mean, it is ripe for a correction, but it hasn't really materialized just yet. But you can see here how strong it is, the resistance. Moving on to commodities and gold, still range bound between 1900 and 1950, not much to say there. Silver being weak again, being rejected at the 5500 and 200 moving average. They are all declining now, so silver looks fairly heavy, and we could see a move towards the 22 level in coming days. Copper, very critical at the moment, 362.70 support being tested. RSI negative, broken berries out of the lower rising trend line in this triangle-like pattern here. So next move is 356, possibly lower in coming weeks. On the energy front, we have Brent crude oil. We are starting to get this correction going. 90.62 is the first one one should observe, but it could dip down to the 61.8 retracement at 87.50, and on WTI it is down to 83.75. If it really gets going, the bears, if they are sniffing some blood here, then they will probably dip it lower. But we are in an uptrend, and there's no divergence. RSI is telling us we are likely to move higher. Finally, let's have a look at the US 10-year US Treasury yield. Reached just the 161.8 projection of the latest correction here at 455, just peaked a little bit above, but there could be much more in store for this, and I will write an update on US Treasury yields and futures a little bit later for you to watch, where we will have a look at the medium to long-term view. All right, that's all for today. It's a fairly long one, but there's also a lot to talk about. Happy trading, and talk to you again tomorrow.